So let's go for it. At Curatronic, you offer a wide range of intensities from around 70 Gauss up to 10,000 Gauss. It's quite a big difference. Why do you offer such a large range, and do you personally prefer a specific intensity range yourself?
Okay, I have to start to say that we are manufacturing two different technologies of PEMF. It's the standard or the well-known PEMF used by most people for home use, for instance, but also for professionals, is the so-called oscillating or true PEMF, which is a smooth way of inducting into the body energy. And then we manufacture also very high intensities devices, which are working in according to a different principle. Can explain on it later on if you wish. Where we need very, very high intensity pulses in order to penetrate completely through the body and the whole body. Mm-hmm. That's why we manufacture actually two different technologies, and both technologies have their own intensity range.
Mm-hmm. So do you think that the higher intensities, sorry, let's rephrase that. Do the lower intensities not pass through the body? Or is it the fact that by the time they've passed through the body, they're, nearly negligible in terms of the intensity side of things?
If you look at a coil construction of a PEMF device, the emitted intensity from the coil becomes lower and lower when you get farther away from the coil itself. If you imagine, for instance, a pyramid upside down, and you have the point of the pyramid close to or that's actually in the middle of the coil. And when you go out of the coil, you spread the intensity so much that every time when you double the distance, more or less, from the coil, you actually divide it by a factor of the square root. And when you do it another step further, it's even less. So when you start, for instance, with an intensity of, let's say, 9, as an absolute figure, 9 to start at the coin. When you get away one distance, it's diminished by 3. And when you get another step, it's diminished. And you only had by 1 of the of the starting post. So the intensity is very important if you want to penetrate through the body completely. And that's why it's important that we offer such high intensity devices as well, but also lower intensities, although our lower intensity devices are still high compared, for instance, to your own manufactured product. And you target a different area, or you have different applications for your device than we have for our device. We target more the medium and high range, where you target more wellness device, if I express myself correctly.
Yeah, and you've come through the same industry in time that I've been coming through it. In terms of when we're talking about low intensity, a lot of the systems out there are like 1 Gauss. So, we're talking about extremely low intensity systems there that, a lot of the time are claiming that they've got the ability to, give a large magnetic field. But, when we talk about the intensities we start at, between yourself and I, your system starts at 70 Gauss, ours starts between 50 and 100 Gauss. So already both systems are 50, 70, 100 times stronger than a lot of these devices that we'll talk about, when we're talking about low intensity. So there's still quite a big difference. And then you go into the thousands of ranges, which we'll come to. But following, sorry, I was going to say something.
The lower intensity devices have a field strength often the same as the Earth's field strength. So how, if you imagine, how can you have a therapeutical effect when you use the same strength of electromagnetic energy, which is created already by the Earth? You more think in the direction of earthing, although that's not my expertise. So
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
all right, please, next question, please.
No, exactly. So, like, yeah, that, I mean, what you're saying there, Ben, is that the Earth produces like around, depending on where you are, close to the equator, you're going to get between about 0.5 up to maximum 0.8 Gauss or something.
Right.
So, people that are producing 1 Gauss systems, a lot of the time, the beneficial, you might as well go out and lay on the grass and get the same kind of intensities.
That
Yeah, so when you want to get a system to use in home and you want to get the results a lot quicker, starting at 50, 70, 100 Gauss is where you and I both think is the minimum to start. So I think it's good to kind of clear that up.
right.